Are you looking for a podcast where you can hear from real people regarding their real dental drama? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join hosts Bethany Petty and Dr. Rena Kuba as we dive into the solutions we've created and the mistakes we've made while managing dental drama. Let's get started. Happy Monday, everybody. It is just me today, and I am about to spend the next 15 minutes dropping so many resources on you. So get ready. Y'all are all about to be on hopefully a little break for July 4th, so it's going to be the perfect time to get going on some really important things for your practice and for your team. So this episode is all about resources that I myself have used in my consulting business, things I've used in my communication with others, things I've used to get my mind in the right place for work and for what I do. But also, this is an episode with specific resources that you need to put in place to really build out a successful support system for you. Being a part of a practice, leading a practice, owning a practice, in order to be at your best, you've really got to surround yourself with fantastic resources. So I'm going to kind of focus on two domains today. First of all, I'm going to give you some simple first steps. To me, these are books that have been very influential in not only my business, but also as I've consulted with practices, I've really leaned on the knowledge that I've gained from these books. I think these books can be impactful for any person on the team, whether you're an RDA, an assistant, an ortho assistant, or a hygienist or business team member. It doesn't matter. You can benefit from these books. I think it's becoming a dying art to read books. We're more apt to watch a video or kind of scroll through TikTok and find some little tidbits. So we're becoming more of a Cliff Note society. And I just really think we've got so much knowledge in the books around us that we really can't deny the helpfulness of these books. Doesn't mean that you have to actually purchase a physical copy. It could mean that you're downloading this on your Audible app or whatever you use to listen to books. But I want to talk through 4 very influential books that I think everybody needs to read. And it was so hard for me to narrow it down to 4, but these are the 4 that made the top of my list. And if you were sitting here looking at my bookshelves full of books, you would realize that 4 is miraculous, that I was able to just pick 4. So I want to go through these with you. The first one, and these are in no particular order, by the way, because they're all phenomenal. This is like my A++++ list, and then I've just got an A++ list, but these are really, really good. So one that I have recommended to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't take me up on this. I get it. I totally get it. But I talk about this man all the time, studied him way back in the day in my bachelor's degree and then more in my master's programs. He is pivotal to persuasion and influence. Some people call him the godfather of influence. And so the book, his original book, is called The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. Within this book, I'm sitting here holding my copy, which is ancient. Like, I've got the yellowed pages and I've got my little notes all the way throughout. It is such a pivotal book for understanding the human brain and how it works and how it functions. So let's say that you're a manager and you're like, how do I get this team to follow my lead? I am trying to motivate them. I'm trying to ask them very clearly, what to do and how to do it, but they just will not follow me. You need this book. You need to understand what it is that actually influences people to move forward in the right direction. If you are a practice owner, you've got to have a team that follows your lead. And While this isn't going to go into particular styles of leadership, this is going to give you foundational information on what motivates people and how people think without even, it's not conscious thought, it's subconscious reactiveness. And so the psychology of persuasion is exceedingly important from a team standpoint. But some of my favorite applications of this book are actually persuading patients to take care of themselves, right? Treatment acceptance, even scheduling their next hygiene appointment. We want that so badly for our patients because we know that's what's best for them. And we want what's best for them. But we are using all the wrong techniques to motivate them to schedule their next treatment or to schedule their recall appointment. So this book, The Psychology of Persuasion, is foundational in our patient care and our communication with our patients. I just can't say enough about this. If you only pick one of the 4 books, which I would be really upset if you only picked one, but this one is foundational. And it is thick, it is weighty, it is not a light and easy read, but please trust me on this. You're going to want to pick up this book and read it. There's been lots of spinoffs from this that you could just spend the next 2 years in the psychology of persuasion and learn so much. So that's the first book that I would highly recommend. The second book is called Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. It is one that I read actually pretty recently. I have the book right here in front of me, but I do not have any notes made in the margins of this book because I actually listened to this one on Audible. It was exceedingly enjoyable to listen to on Audible. It read more like a story than it did an actual like self-help book. So it is completely out of the dental field. There's nothing related to dental, just like there's not in the former book that I was just talking about. But it is fascinating. It is a fascinating book on how one general manager took this restaurant in New York and just really homed in on the value of hospitality and just broke the mold of what hospitality looks like. To hear how creative they got with creating these experiences for their customers, it was humbling because I thought this is what a man who's in the restaurant industry is doing. And while food is important, food is nothing compared to your dental care, your physical health, and yet we don't put near as much thought into our patient experiences as this man does for his customers that visit his restaurant. So I would recommend this book. Again, any team member could benefit from this. Allow it to humble you. I felt exceedingly humbled by this book. And then also allow it to inspire you. What are creative little things that you could try even in your practice? Or maybe it's not exactly what they did in their restaurant, but it spurs an idea for how you can take hospitality to the next level. Hospitality, in most cases, is free. It is 100% free. Now, you'll hear in this book that it is not free. They spent a lot of time and money on hospitality. But in our practices, in our dental practices, hospitality can be free. And so I want to challenge you and your team to just break off the molds of what we've always considered hospitality to be and to really dig deep on this concept. So, Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. Highly recommend that book. The next one that I have here is called, it's a historical one. I've had it on my shelf for many, many, many years. I was just flipping through to see if I could find the copyright date. It has been around for a while, but the concepts in it are timeless. And it is called Word of Mouth Marketing by Andy Cernovitz. And it is just so simple, and yet so impactful for a practice. So it looked like this was originally published in 2006. And the concepts absolutely are still relevant almost 20 years later. It talks about the importance of identifying people in your practice that are not just good at talking about you, but are happy to talk about you. They become pivotal patients for growing your patient base, for letting the community know about you. So he talks about how to identify these VIPs, how to cater to them, and how to really blow their socks off in such a way that they are out spreading the word about your practice. So again, there's nothing earth-shattering in this book, but it is something that should change us after reading it, because we think about those referrals and that word-of-mouth marketing in a very different way. Oftentimes we can get discouraged in the process of asking for referrals. We're like, it's not working. Nobody's talking about us. Nobody ever sends their friends and their family. And my question always is, how intentional are we being with getting those people talking about us? And so this book unpacks lots of different ways that you can really unpack that whole referral chain. So Word of Mouth Marketing by Andy Cernovitz. Then my last one is The 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. The 1 Minute Manager, I was scouring my bookshelves trying to find my copy. My guess is that I have loaned it out to somebody, and as I was preparing for this episode, I was like, oh no, I've got to get my 1 Minute Manager back, because it is the shortest little read. It's short and easy. You could read it in probably 90 minutes. It's super short, but so helpful. This is going to be a very helpful book for, of course, practice owners, managers, team leads, people that are trying to grow into leadership. The concepts represented in the 1 Minute Manager book are foundational. In fact, if you're a parent, you could totally utilize the concepts in this book. And so it talks about how to effectively manage people without it consuming your world. And this is the problem that I see with practice owners, with managers, team leads, is that they have so much on their plate that they're drowning. And the management of it all, the management of the people, the management of the problems becomes unbearable. And this book talks about how to slowly change the tide of people needing you to solve all of their problems. It teaches you how to kind of punt the responsibility back to your team members so that they themselves become self-managing in a way. So again, it's a very quick read. It is absolutely worth the 90 minutes that you would put into reading it. And I think the concepts are very easily translatable to a dental office. So those are 4 books. I'm sitting here looking at my shelves just wishing that I could tell you about so many more, but this is a really great place to start. Maybe you'll get through all 4 of them over the 4th of July weekend. Although if that's the case, you probably won't make it through the Psychology of Persuasion. But maybe you're driving somewhere, you can download Unreasonable Hospitality, definitely listen to it. And then the other 2 are relatively easy reads. 1 Minute Manager, super short. Word of Mouth Marketing is, I'm pulling it open here, it is 190 pages. So it's relatively short as well, and I would just challenge you to get going on these. So those are my book resources. Now, I want to kind of shift buckets, and I want to talk about the team of people that you need to surround yourself with to have a successful practice. So anytime I'm working with a startup practice, I've been so lucky to be able to help business owners, dentists, kick their practice off, and it's just such a fun process. So to me, these are pivotal people that I'm telling my startups to get acclimated with, but I'm also telling my regular clients that have been in business to get acclimated with these people. The very first one is a dental CPA. I cannot tell you how critical it is for you to have not only a CPA, but I would highly recommend a dental CPA. What I see as the distinction between a CPA and a dental CPA. Now,
when I say dental CPA, that may not mean that they only work with dentists. There are plenty of firms out there that only work with dentists. They're easy to find. But I recommend somebody who has a large pool of dentists because they become an advisor to you. You are able to get trends from them and what's going on in the industry. They know specific challenges that dentists face, not just business owners. So a CPA works fine, but you're missing out on that advisory piece. Just your dental CPA knowing what the typical overhead is, what each of the categories should be as far as how much should my dental supplies be of my total overhead, what about payroll, what should that be? If they're looking across multiple industries, they can't really communicate with the confidence that you need to give you the correct information. So a dental CPA has all this data at his or her fingertips, and they can tell you very specifically what those things should be for dental practices. Not to mention, they understand the concepts of having to update technology, having to add new equipment. They can figure out from tax standpoint when and how to add those things. So they are absolutely essential to starting a practice. I just cannot advise that enough. So you need to have a dental CPA. If you're doing your own bookkeeping, accounting, all of that, I do understand that that's a cost-saving thing for you, and I understand if you have to do that for a period of time, but as soon as you can, you need to get a dental CPA. It's worth the investment. So that's professional number one. Professional number two is going to be a lawyer. And I hate to even say that, but you need to have access to somebody that can be a resource for you when tricky things come up. So, for example, let's say you've got a child patient in your practice. Let's say you're pedo. You've got a child patient in your practice, and you've got a set of divorced parents, each of them claiming a certain responsibility or a certain privilege that they have with their child. And now you're in the seat to navigate what your role is as a medical dental provider towards this child. You're getting divorce papers and updated divorce papers, and you're trying to navigate this. It would benefit you greatly to have a lawyer that you can reach out to. And yes, it's going to cost something. But the advice that you can get from that lawyer, there are dental specific lawyers, which are even better. So I would highly recommend that you have one of those on file. It doesn't mean that you're chronically paying this lawyer. It just means that you have an established relationship with them and you know who to contact when something icky comes up. So that would be number two. Number three is you need somebody. It can be somebody on your team, but it can also be a company that is supporting you in marketing efforts. If it is somebody on your team, then you are responsible as the practice owner or as the manager. You are responsible for having monthly meetings with this person. And y'all are checking your online rankings. You're checking your Google ads. You're checking your social media interactions. You're developing your marketing plans together. So you would need to be hand in hand if that person is on your team. If you are outsourcing that to a marketing firm, then they naturally are keeping you accountable. So they are scheduling monthly phone calls, sometimes every other month. They are sending you reports on how your website's doing. But you need to make sure that you're constantly on top of marketing, even if you're in a mature practice that is just trying to maintain. That's always going to take a level of marketing that I think requires either somebody dedicated to that on your team or a professional company. So that would be the third one. There's a lot more that I wish I could say here, but I'm going to keep it to 4 as well. That was my goal. 4 books, 4 professional resources. The fourth one is some type of emotional mental support. Okay, so any client of mine knows that I highly recommend a counselor or psychiatrist or psychologist that you're seeing on a regular basis, even if you feel perfectly healthy and emotionally in control, I just think it's helpful to be able to divulge a lot of thoughts and feelings every so often. So it could be that you're only seeing that person every other month, or 3 times a year, but something is better than nothing. If it's not a counselor or psychologist or something like that, then I would say make sure that you have developed a support group, so to speak. So maybe that's several of your dental buddies that get together on a regular basis and just talk shop. You're talking about the business, you're talking about trends that they're seeing, you're talking about challenges that they've faced, challenges that you're facing. So it's almost like your own little support group. But I do not think that social media is a substitute for that. So if you're on multiple social media groups for dentistry, I just don't think that that's a good enough supplement. I think you need in-person FaceTime with other people, and I think it needs to be the same people on a regular basis. So let's say you've got a local chapter of a study club that you go to, every other month. You may feel great being able to see people learn something when you get together, but if it's different people every time, then you're not going to feel the freedom to be vulnerable with those people. So to me, it's better if you have a subset out of that study club that meet together on a regular basis. If you're going more of the support group route, I would recommend monthly, because there's just a lot that can come up in any given month that it's helpful to dialogue with other people about what's happening. So support, mental, emotional support, either in the way of a counselor, psychiatrist, or in the way of a support group. I think all 4 of those are non-negotiable. I just cannot express to you enough the importance of having all 4 of those on your team, so to speak. I know they're behind the scenes, they're not in your office necessarily, but they're on your team. You've got a group of people that you can access and resource at any time. That it just brings a peace of mind that you just need to do it for yourself. So, dental CPA, lawyer, ideally a dental lawyer, a marketing firm, or a dedicated person on your team for marketing, and then emotional support, either in the way of counseling or a support group. So you've got 4 books, you've got 4 professionals that you need to have as your backbone. Use this upcoming holiday break. Hopefully you get a 3-day weekend, with July 4th being on a Friday. Hopefully everybody's getting a 3-day weekend. Dig into these. Do yourself a favor, invest in yourself, invest in your practice, invest in your team, and check out these 4 book resources. And if you don't have any of these 4 professional resources in place, start researching today and get these people on your team as soon as possible. All right, happy 4th. Y'all be safe out there.
Thanks for joining the conversation today. We hope that you are comforted in knowing that you are not alone, but we also hope that you're walking away with some really great tips and tricks to try in your practice. We value your feedback, so please take a few moments to rate and review the podcast. Finally, we want to make sure that we're covering the topics that matter to you. So track us down on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what topics you want us to cover. As always, please know that we are rooting for you today as you manage your dental drama.